This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Late Show with Ray and Leanne. Tonight we are talking about the forever problem in teaching, to work or not to work during holidays. And we're taking holidays to mean summer, half terms, Christmas, Easter, and dare I say even the weekends.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live. Tune in live at ttradio.org, or to join in the conversation, download the Podbean app and search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TTRadio. Tune in, talk it out with Teachers Talk Radio.
So, it's Monday. Leanne, how are you?
I'm okay. Half term seems like a long time ago.
Yeah, because we were going to talk about this a few weeks ago, and then life got in the way, and it was topical at the time, and now it's just kind of generally, what are we doing with our free time?
But I mean, this is week 3, so we've only been back 2 weeks. I just turned the oven on, made a pasta bake, set a timer on my phone for 17 minutes, got up after the timer went off and realised I hadn't put the pasta bake in the oven. So half term feels like a long time ago.
It is Monday though.
It's true, yes.
It is Monday. I've
definitely more bank holidays.
Yeah. I don't think I've done anything quite that Monday.
Okay.
I've stared at a screen for a good 2 hours watching a really awful horror film that I never got to see in cinema because I just couldn't face the pile of marking sitting on my desk.
Ugh, yeah.
That does seem to be the pattern though. So
on Twitter or X about it, or Facebook, one of the groups that I'm on, and I was like, many a times my books have taken the journey home with me and then they've gone back to school
untouched.
It's so that I have company in the car, you see. It's not for marking purposes.
No. I just need to hold them close.
Like I don't mind, I'm fine planning at home or doing computery stuff, but I just I take the kids' books home, and then I don't want the kids in my house. Kind of.
Yes. I look at them like they're intruders. I look at them like you don't belong here. Seeing your I love you when you're at school, but I don't want you in my home.
No, yeah, that's exactly how I see it. I've only done it a few times. I just no, yuck. I love the kids and I'm there for them, but I don't need them in my home.
I don't want them to be there for me when I come home to my safe place.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, getting home to your safe place and having the dim lighting and just try to unwind from the day. And I've never taken marking home. I'd rather stay later at school. And get home and be done.
Well, part of my problem has always been that I've taken public transport to and from work, and in this I still do it even though I'm in some small city in the Midlands. It comes from living in London for 13 years when I was taking trains every day, and I got in the habit of not taking piles and piles of books home. If the kids are even doing an assessment and I know I have to mark it, I'll get them to do it on line paper and they can glue it in their book later because I'm not carting 30 odd exercise book. It's not happening.
I've done that.
And I've just, I think I did it once or twice in my NQT year and went, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna have the back of an 80-year-old by the time I'm 30. So yeah, I just stopped doing it. But there's only so much. And then when you've got, oh God, when you've got, anything going on in your life, that means you can't stay at work. For example, I look at my colleagues who are parents, and I just think, I don't know how you have to leave at 4:30 every single day. um, and not even have the option of staying and getting stuff done like that. That is just a horror show to me.
Yeah, because then they're taking marking home and probably planning home. Ugh, yuck.
Yeah, no, that's grim. That's
I feel like
absolutely
if
grim.
you're
I'm
a parent, you should be part-time. That's my hope for myself.
well, or as it turns out, if you're a woman in your 30s, you just quit teaching entirely. Apparently, those are the statistics.
Yeah,
So
all that. I'm still not sure where you go though.
I, I guess I don't know. I mean, I maybe I just didn't read all the articles properly, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I guess some of them just stay at home with the kids for a number of years and then find
And
something else like
then they
tutoring.
become influencers. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the way to go.
Do you know what? It it's more and more I just find myself thinking, I wish I was 21 and like ridiculously attractive. Not for any personal reasons or like any sort of lack of self-esteem on my own part. I just would like to have the options open to me that attractive 21-year-olds have.
But you are an experienced teacher. Look how many skills you have to offer.
Yeah, but I could post like 3 pictures a week on Instagram and be making bank if I was
That's true.
luckier. But
I just
here we
think
are.
I'm like the wrong generation for that as well.
Oh, so would I, but I would fake it. I don't care. I have no integrity left, Leanne.
We're just tired teachers. We're like, what else can we do?
I am bitter, I am jaded, and I'm fully lacking in
Well,
sort of
we
integrity at all.
talked about that on the weekly review because was it Michael? Is it Michael O'Leary, the EasyJet guy? No, Ryanair guy was like, I wouldn't hire teachers. Like,
Oh, what? I missed this. What happened?
yeah, it was Michael O'Leary, the guy in charge of Ryanair, made some
Yeah.
comment at like a political rally saying that he wouldn't hire teachers to get jobs done. Like,
Excuse me?
maybe we wouldn't hire you to teach our kids.
I don't think I'm sorry, who could manage a plane of disgruntled passengers better than a teacher?
Yeah, exactly. We spin a million plates at the same time. Literally.
Oh, that's annoyed me more than most comments do.
I know, yeah, we were a little bit miffed on the weekly review by it as well.
Oh, well, you know what? I don't want to work for Ryanair anyway. I don't want to. No.
No. I'd rather
No.
work for someone else. Cathay Pacific.
Now I'd want to work for Emirates, but again, I'm not
Yeah.
20 ridiculously attractive, so that's not going to happen.
Emirates in their first class, not in economy.
Yeah. Oh, God, with no children, can you imagine? Wow.
Yeah. No children allowed, although some children fly business.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, even more children fly
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. So, okay, so if you don't take any work home, if that's your general kind of approach, what did you do this weekend? Did you do nothing?
Oh,
I mean, work-wise, did you do nothing?
this weekend, nothing, thankfully. However, last weekend was a different kettle of fish, Ray, because we should probably say hello to people that are listening because we have like a couple viewers, which is nice.
We do. We do. Hello. Good evening.
Welcome to the half-term rant. How do you feel about half-term?
Oh, I have so many feelings, but go on.
Yeah, it was assessment week. Need I say
Oh,
more?
yeah.
Need I say more? We were
No.
0-1ing, as I have coined the phrase, 0-1ing, where we have to upload all our scores, but like you have to like upload the scores of every paper for every child. So
Ew.
it's like an hour of my life I shall never get back.
Yeah.
Last
See, we've got that this week, so.
yeah. Oh yeah. This week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so you wait, so we need to go back here. Are you admitting that you did actually work last weekend?
I did, and I brought their papers home.
For shame.
I know.
I
did it on my bed because I woke up Sunday morning really early and I was like, right, I'm just going to get it done. And then I have the rest of Sunday to like relax and I don't have to feel the Sunday blues. So
Yeah.
7 till 9, I sat on my bed, 010101, inputting data. Yeah, but then it was like done. At school, people are like, "Oh, have you done your data?" And I was like, "Yes."
It's such a good feeling. I love that smug feeling I get.
Felt a bit smart. Usually I'm like not one of the last, but I don't know. Like I felt quite well prepared in this. Yeah.
It is a nice feeling though, because I feel like I always seem to get my data on whatever ridiculous spreadsheet we have to fill in kind of sooner, if not first, then in a very timely manner compared to most other people. And I'm really proud of it because I feel like it's one of the only things I consistently do correctly. Like I can put numbers on a spreadsheet. That's the one thing I can do in my life. But there are days I feel like I can't teach. There are days I feel like I can't mark. There are days I feel like I can't function at all in any way. But I can input numbers on a spreadsheet. I can do that before the deadline.
Next time I have to do some 0-1ing, I'm going to call you.
Yeah, happily. I will happily help you out. I find it quite calming, actually. But it's still, so my issue isn't that spreadsheets, the spreadsheets make some people go cross-eyed, and I fully appreciate that. My issue with them isn't anything like that. It's just the time it takes to fill them in and check everything. It's purely the time. That's why I'm bitter. It's the time that it takes.
That's it. But that's like the problem that's what we're talking about, like half term, like the time it takes to do things. And I always have this thought of like, if I do it now, the Leanne of tomorrow doesn't have to do it. If I don't do it now, tomorrow's Leanne has to do it.
Yeah, but do you know what? Tomorrow's Ray isn't me. Okay. Tomorrow's Ray isn't today's Ray. Tomorrow's Ray is not Ray now. To me, they're like two different people. That doesn't work. I'm like, oh, that's a problem for tomorrow, Ray. Oh, I'm a horrible procrastinator in that sense, but I do enjoy mindless tasks that I can tick off a list and give myself some inflated sense of self-worth or self-validation, I suppose, but accomplishment, like some sort of, like I am the kind of person that will create a list with items on it that I've just done.
I was going to say that. I was talking to my deputy about the same thing. It's like, I needed to do it and I did it, but I should write it down, because then you get the satisfaction of crossing it off.
And it's so satisfying. And I feel like we have to take the joy where we can get it.
Yeah, that's so true. Maybe it's a teacher thing. I wonder if people in industry do that.
I think there are weird people like us everywhere, to be fair.
Like bankers,
I think there are.
Teachers Talk Radio.
Probably not listening.
You're things off your lists in Canary Wharf.
And I also think they wouldn't be writing the list out by hand on personalized stationery.
No. I'm sure their PAs write it for them.
Yeah. Yes, darling. Yes. Yeah. It is satisfying.
My phonics notebook is purple and fluffy and has like a sparkly monster face on it.
Oh, Leanne, that is next level.
I know.
Wow.
That's why I don't work in Canary Wharf, because I have a fluffy.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Imagining primary school teachers with their ridiculous, like, colored, book print or maths equation covered dresses, carrying purple fluffy notebooks into some Canary Wharf office. I would pay.
We had like a truck wide inset the other day, and I was on the tube and I felt very professional.
Wow. And then you know what? One of the things I didn't mind, one of the things that kept me from hating my commute when I was in London, because at one point, for a wide range of reasons, I worked at a school that was, on a good day, an hour and 45 minutes away from my house. And I had to commute all the way through London, from like one end of London to the other to get there, and then all the way back again in the evening. And one thing that kept me from hating the whole thing was how like professional I felt traveling through central London to
Yeah.
get to and from work. There was like something about that was like, this is why I moved here.
Mm.
I'm one of these people. And I felt really great about myself. And it was all a facade. It was all just an absolute joke. And I was wasting like over the year, probably weeks of my life. But,
Yeah.
you know, it kept me from losing the will. And I got through the year and it was fine.
So we
Oh,
posed the question, like half term, to work or not to work.
oh,
The other
jeez.
question is train commute. Do you work? Do you not work?
Okay, let me answer this one first because
Or
I
do
feel
you
like
put your
it's,
makeup on?
oh
Option
God.
3.
Do you know what? I put my makeup on the bus yesterday because I was in such a rush to get out of the house, and I don't do that. Like I do half of my face before I leave, and then I do the second half when I get to work. That's how I normally go if I don't have time to do the whole thing. But
Okay,
yesterday was dire.
we'll have
But
to
as
we'll
for
have to
doing any
disagree
work
on that
on,
one.
yeah, I can't do it. And then doing any work on public transport, I can't. I have to have my headphones on and I have to have music playing and I have to just
Out.
zone out. Like it's my quiet time. Even though I'm surrounded by thousands of people, it is my alone time. It is my getting my head in the right space time or decompressing time. Like no one speak to me, no one talk to me. I'm not even here right now. I'm living out some rock star fantasy in my brain. Don't ask me to think. I couldn't work if I tried.
That's good. I get it. I had to take the bus for a week, and especially on the way back, I was just like zoned out completely. Like, there's no way I could have worked on the way back on the bus.
No.
Maybe on the
No, and there's
train. I think it's
the
fast.
train better, assuming you can sit down. But
Yeah,
it's something about a moving vehicle as well. I totally space out. It's completely unproductive.
I'm
Um,
also a bit like, if I take my marking out on the tube, people will look at me and they'll be like, "Oh, look at this! Such a poor teacher. She's even having to work on her commute."
See, I always
Bad
assume they think
scholar.
the
Look at me,
opposite.
I'm a teacher, and I'm working on my commute. Look, look, look. Look at
Yeah,
me.
I thought they'd say maybe this is because I worked at one of my last schools. It wasn't me and I wasn't even there, but I've done it enough times. I'm surprised it hasn't happened to us when I was there. Some people in my department took a bunch of marking because we're all English teachers and we have marking coming out of places we didn't know we had, and it's constant and it's relentless and it's all consuming and entirely horrific in every way. And they took a bunch of marking to a pub, like the nearby pub, and they were not drinking. They're having like, a soda and then a beer and then a soda, like mixing it up.
Mm.
And they were totally not like not in any way inebriated or doing anything wrong, because everyone's done this before. But I don't know what happened because I wasn't there. But apparently, one of them said something like, teachers when they're marking together, you'll point out something, like you'll read something aloud that a kid has written and be like, "lol," like you'll have a laugh about it. Like I sent a text to my department WhatsApp group the other day when I was marking that quoted something. They were doing a practice paper, and this kid was writing about how the hyenas were presented. The hyena was presented in the text, and he called the hyena a broke lowlife. So I quoted it and I sent it to the group WhatsApp. Anyway, so they were doing this, but in the pub face to face talking about it. The next day, it turned out they got like spoken to by someone in SLT or the head or something because someone in the pub had overheard them having this conversation and quote unquote laughing at students in public and mocking the students' work and like tried to report them to the school. And so they had to be told like just don't take your marking, just don't take your marking and don't do it in a public place.
Oh my
But
god.
like what? So I've always been scared that some absolute trash bag of a person is gonna look at it not like, oh, the poor teacher has to do the marking on the train, but oh, can't she do it another time, or why is she doing that in public, or I'm gonna report her. Like I've just kind of always been in fear of that, I guess.
Yeah. There's so
People
much
are awful.
fear. Yeah, but there's so much like fear now around teaching and like
Yeah.
doing the right thing, and yeah, I never thought of it in that way. Actually, I mean, a couple of years ago, I started stewarding at a museum, like just volunteering on the weekend, and I was teaching year 6 at the time. And I used to, like you say, I used to get them to do their writing on a piece of paper, and then I would just take it all with me and sit and mark it, because like the writing takes so long to mark.
Yeah, tell me about it.
You have to give like full on attention. It's not like it's a maths problem and it's like easy to mark. Like the writing, there's so many different elements to it. I mean, we're doing a long write tomorrow, and I'm just thinking about it. I'm like a bit dreading the marking, like going through it, or but we digress from half term.
We do. So we do, and we will talk about that in just a moment.
Parentkind are a national charity representing parent views and voice and championing parental participation in education and school life. By fostering strong school-parent partnerships, we can boost student attendance, improve behaviour and enhance academic performance. When parents actively participate, students thrive. Join the movement that's reshaping education for the better. Visit parentkind.org to learn more about reaping the rewards of working in partnership with parents.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Do you ever wish you could sit down with other teachers and delve into the challenges and opportunities we face? Well, that's exactly what Table Talks at Bet UK is all about. Join small roundtable discussions based on your selected topics to share insights, learn from peers and tackle the big issues in education, all in a sponsor-free environment. This is your chance to connect and collaborate like never before. Be part of the conversation at Bet UK in January 2025. Visit uk.betshow.com to learn more.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
Schools Week features early feedback from the curriculum review led by Professor Becky Francis. According to the article, teachers feel disempowered and deprofessionalised by overstipulation and the challenge to cover content. Professor Francis said the roadshows have so far gathered mixed and diverse views. She spoke at the recent CST conference about how frequent complaints are around how assessment and exams dictate the curriculum, which is often described as overstuffed, and that this has led to the deprioritisation of certain subjects and reduced enrichment activities. Concerns have also been raised about a lack of awareness of vocational routes at post-16. Positive themes have included an appreciation of the ambition for all in the current national curriculum, and reading was mentioned as a thing that has gone well. The TES magazine covers draft proposals for changes to Ofsted's inspection framework. The magazine says Ofsted told sector leaders that teaching could be assessed as a separate category under new draft plans. The watchdog has been sharing its initial plans for inspection areas with a wide range of senior figures in recent weeks, ahead of a formal consultation launch in the new year. A report in the Financial Times has said that Ofsted is also proposing replacing its current grading system with a 5-point scale, in which schools would be rated as being exemplary, strong practice, secure, attention needed, or causing concern in each area. The TES reports there had been another version of the proposals that included a 7-point scale. Head teachers' leaders have raised concerns that Ofsted's plans are too complicated and warned that the Department for Education and the Inspectorate are in a headlong rush to create a new system. The plans involve separating out teaching and the curriculum into separate inspection areas, which have caused concern amongst those who have been consulted, particularly amid the recruitment and retention challenges. Teaching and curriculum are assessed together in the current framework. Ofsted's informal consultation comes after the Inspectorate was warned not to draw up its new framework behind closed doors. Other categories understood to be included in the new report card proposals include attendance, opportunities to thrive, outcomes, behaviour, leadership, preparation for next steps, and also inclusion. An Ofsted source told TES the proposal to make teaching a separate category was not about returning to lesson observations. Instead, it was about making it clear that the focus would be on how teachers are supported. The spokesperson said, "Great teaching is the most important lever schools have to improve pupil attainment for the most disadvantaged pupils." The Guardian reports on young people from working class backgrounds are being blocked from entering the creative industries, which remain elitist according to research. A report from the Sutton Trust found stark overrepresentation in the arts for those from the most affluent backgrounds. About 7% of people educated in the UK attend private fee-paying schools. However, 43% of Britain's best-selling classical musicians and 35% of BAFTA-nominated actors are alumni of private schools. However, pop stars appear to better reflect the educational backgrounds of the UK population, with only 8% privately educated and 20% university educated, which are both close to the national average. The report said, "There are clear class inequalities in creative higher education, and the creative workforce with high-profile creative figures in fields like television more likely to have attended private school and university than the population overall." The Sutton Trust has called for a range of measures to improve access to the arts, with its chief executive saying it is a tragedy that young people from working-class backgrounds are the least likely to study creative arts degrees. Further details, including a range of statistics, can be found in the article on the Guardian website. Finally, the Irish Times features a story on Ryanair's Michael O'Leary, who it says has doubled down on comments he made about teachers, saying he wouldn't generally employ a lot of teachers to go out and get things done. The comments have been condemned by many as insulting and failed to reflect the enormous contribution teachers have made to Irish society and enterprise. Mr. O'Leary was apparently unapologetic and said he was making a serious point. Full details can be found in the Irish Times online. This has been Teachers Talk Radio News with Joe Fox.
Wow, guess I will be going to read that article in the Irish Times.
Well, when should we read it? In half term or in term time? Maybe we shall not. We have marking to do, Ray.
Oh, I don't know what's worse. I actually don't. Would you rather mark an entire class worth of assessments in your personal holiday time, or would you rather read a rage-inducing article slagging off your entire career?
I'd probably rather read the article and then talk about it on Teachers Talk Radio.
Correct answer.
Yeah, a bit of like teacher therapy. It's good to get it out. Get it out on the airwaves.
Yeah, better out than in.
We can all band together.
And do what?
I don't know. I think I'd follow Brent. Brent was on the weekly review. I think I'd follow his lead on that one.
I'll follow you. I'll follow you following Brent.
Yeah. But I was just looking at, was it Paul? Yeah, I think all of us. Paul was like, I say that I'll do the work, and then I end up doing it on the Sunday before we go back. That's everyone, surely. That's like most of us.
It's most, I would say. However, I spent pretty much the entire last half term in this paralytic state. Like I was paralyzed by my resentment about the whole situation. Like I had so much to do and I had so much that had to get done. And some of it I genuinely wanted to do. Like not all of these, I mean, such is the nature of procrastination. The things we're putting off usually are nowhere near as painful as we think they're going to be. Some of them I was actually looking forward to kind of getting stuck into, but I was at the same time so resentful at the amount that needed to get done and the headspace that it was taking up. And the more I thought about it, the more resentful I became. And the more resentful I became, the more it consumed my entire brain. And it just became this dark cloud hovering over me the entire time. And like I went to Canterbury to see family. I went to York for the first time, which is beautiful, to visit a friend. And apart from that, I was just in this kind of in-between state where I was, the end result was I neither had fun nor finished anything. So it was a total lack of productivity and enjoyment or relaxation. And I went back to work more stressed than when I left it. So even the final Sunday, that's when I got the stuff that I had to get done. Like I didn't go back to work, completely ill prepared, but I didn't complete everything that I wanted to because I physically couldn't do it all on the Sunday. And even on the Sunday, when you're so angry that you have to be doing something, you're like getting up and stomping around and making a cup of tea every 5 minutes just because you don't want to be sat there doing it.
Yeah, that was me with the 1-0ing. I had to stop every 15 minutes to like just walk around.
Yeah.
But that's like the challenge with teaching is that you have to prepare to teach, and then you have to teach, and then you have to mark once you've taught. It's like a vicious cycle. And you get to half term and you just want to collapse. But then you're thinking about the week after, and it's like, have you done a medium term plan? Okay, so you spent PPA the week before doing a medium term plan, but then you didn't do a weekly plan. So it just kind of never ending.
Yeah, and we don't, because you're primary and I'm secondary English, and we don't have the same kind of, I think, planning obligations that you guys have. Like I think the prep for you is much more intensive, but the marking for us takes, oh, that was my cat, takes a lot longer if you're in a subject like English. And if you have any kind of, whether you're secondary or primary or in any other setting, if you have any kind of additional responsibility, that obviously impacts on your free time as well. And it's like, you can't win. There's no position in education where you don't have to deal with this. Like even, I mean, I look at PE teachers with envy and rage on a daily basis, but then I think I don't want to go to 50 netball matches every half term.
Stand outside at a football match on a Sunday.
Yeah, I don't want to be outside after school every day, standing in a field. I don't, Yeah. So it's
like, yeah, it's true. It's difficult. And I was like these are the options. Sunday before we go back, you do everything. First day off, you just get it done. But that takes a lot of willpower, I feel like.
Yeah.
Even in the summer holidays, I'm like, I just need a few days to empty out my brain before I can think about set up the classroom, or do you do like snippets throughout? I don't know.
I can't do that because then it feels like it's dragged out even more. I feel okay. So the least bitter I've been about it is obviously earlier in my career when I was young and full of optimism and hope for the future. But also when I had, if I had a trip planned, like if I was going away, if I was going abroad for half of the half term, that was the ideal situation. Like if I knew I was going to be out of town, away from my computer, not bringing anything with me for 3 or 4 days, then I'd have the other 3 or 4 days and I would divide them equally between vegetating on my sofa and getting all my work done. And I had to block out my time like that. So I'd have, 2 days for vegetation, 2 days for getting everything done. And then the rest of the time I'd be in Prague. And that you'd come back from a holiday like that and you'd feel like you actually did something as well as accomplishing what you needed to accomplish and getting everything done. Like it kind of ticked all the boxes. But as soon as your life is in a situation where, you can't just go wherever you want and do whatever you want and plan every waking second around your own wants and needs, then it becomes a lot harder to manage that free time, I think.
Yeah. It's just really sad that we have to plan our holidays like that, don't you think? Like there's
Yeah, and then people say, oh, but you get so many of them.
But also, like, it's like our holidays are dictated to us,
Exactly.
and also, like, even with half term, right? Half term's a week off because you're still having to do work. It's not a week. Probably a lot of us would maybe take a day out for doing the work, and then a lot
Yeah.
of times you're sick during half term because you just like go, and then.
Mhm.
And then I just sometimes I think I need another week off so I can do work.
Yeah. And this last half term, like I was sick for, I think by the time we broke up, it was at least a month. Like I'd been, because I caught something really bad
Yeah.
in late September and then just kept
Yeah.
catching different things. So I had some sort of illness
We just
the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my classroom has no external windows. Like you can't open a window. There's a fan that blows air around,
Yeah.
but there's no fresh air coming in. So if I get something that drops my immune system, like I'm down for the count for the rest of the half term, and I'm just going to keep getting stuff. And that's exactly what happened last half term. And then so I obviously needed time to rest. And then this is what really like sent me over the edge, kind of resentment wise. The first the first day back, we had a whole trust inset day, I think the same way you guys did. So all the staff had to go to this thing, and we were the only secondary school surrounded by hundreds of primary teachers. No offense, Leanne, but that is not how anyone wanted to spend their day. And someone at this conference gave us something because 3 of us that were together the whole day got this same bug.
Day back.
First day back. So
worst.
oh my God. So then I came back and I was like, yeah, so I was like, I'm still sick, but it's a manageable kind of sickness. Like I can deal with a runny nose. I'll just take the medication, whatever. 2 days later, I'm like physically unable to leave my bathroom.
Yeah.
I was like, I hate this job so much right now.
And you're sitting on the bathroom floor and you're like, did I do the planning?
Literally, I was sat on the bathroom floor at one point going, I hope my cover's okay.
Yeah. Well, like, can you imagine, like, the Thursday of half term, you start getting sick, and your plan was to do planning on, like, the Sunday, and then you just can't because you're sick, and then you kill yourself to do your planning so that, you know, you can call in sick when you generally are dying on the bathroom floor. It's just like, I don't know any other job like this.
I don't either.
Genuinely?
Oh my God.
Is anything out there?
I'm so open. And okay. So Paul's just pointed out, rightfully so, we don't get paid for our holidays. So, and this is another thing. You sit there when you're on these breaks and you're like, well, I have to get it done. And these are like reasonable additional tasks for my job. But then the other part of your brain goes, I am not getting paid for this.
Right.
And if it can't get done within directed time, then I should just like let it burn, you know? This is where my head was. Go on.
My issue with that is that, like I said before, the only person that you're kind of like letting down is like the Leanne of Monday. It's like if I don't, this is the issue. If you don't do it, who's gonna do it? Like, no one. If I don't do planning in half term or prepping or something, it's just no one's gonna do it. And then the work piles more on after half term. So again, the debate is, do you want to pile on the work after half term, or do you want to have more of like a balanced life during term time as well?
Yeah. And because I'd been so sick for so long, my main concern was not getting to a point, like this was the irony of getting sick at the conference, right? Because my main concern was like getting enough sleep and getting enough rest and getting enough finished in the half term that I could actually go to bed at a reasonable hour, because I know I get sick. If I don't sleep properly for more than 2 days in a row, my immune system, like I will catch something. I just will. So I have to get decent. So I have to have a decent sleep schedule. I have to have good sleep hygiene, whatever they call it. And if I wasn't getting the work done, then I was making that impossible in the first week back. But as it turned out, I got screwed over anyway. So did it really matter? No, it didn't. No.
It's like when you're sick, it's so difficult to win with the job. It's not like a desk job where you can just sit and zone out. Or even like desk jobs now, people don't take sick days. They just, in inverted commas, work from home. Work from home.
And that's what I would love that.
Like I didn't love online lockdown teaching, but I wouldn't mind working from home 1 day a week.
Yeah,
I
same.
love my house. I wouldn't mind staying in it for a day.
How wonderful would that be? Just do my planning with a cat on my lap. That'd be excellent. And Paul said something else. Thank you, Paul.
Right. Yeah,
you're
right.
Great. So Paul says the head teacher or SLT is the key. Do they have empathy? Do they understand what's being asked of you? So I have a positive story to share.
Yeah.
So my head teacher just last week granted everybody in the English department. I don't know if I should be saying this because we were literally told not to tell. It's not like it's a bit, no one's lying about it, but we're just not supposed to advertise it. But oh well. So she granted everyone in the English department half day work from home to help with the marking load, because we have 4 papers per student to mark.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, over a few week period. It's not like it's all due within a week.
Yeah, I won't complain.
But it was
year 2 right.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you teach year 13, there's additional exam papers to mark. And
wow,
like so many of us, we've all been on our knees like since these exams started coming in, because it's just ridiculous, and we're all fed up. And like all of us bar one, I think, has been doing this for long enough that we just don't have. There's no goodwill left, if you know what I mean. Like we're just done.
Not MQTs.
Yeah. So everyone was just, and we also have a deputy head who used to teach English, who like is an English teacher. He's not teaching it this year though, and an assistant head who's an English teacher, and they basically were just, the deputy head went to the head teacher and was like, "This is like we got to throw them a bone here because people are on the edge." And she did. She's like, okay, well, each individual can take a half day, whatever day works best. Obviously, spread it out, but pick the day, and you can either come in late or you can leave early. So that's what we've all been doing for the past week. And Paul again has pointed out, because Paul is always correct, a half day is a great gesture, but it's not enough to do much. And it wasn't enough to do much. Like I had a little bit of a lie-in. I did a whole bunch of like the admin-y stuff, like the inputting stuff on the spreadsheets, but I didn't actually get much physical marking done because it takes so long to get stuff finished. You have to sit down with like time ahead of you. This isn't something that can just be done in like 45 minutes here or free period there.
That's
so
the problem with like my brain is that if I start something, I have to like delve deep into it. I can't like jump in and out of planning. I hate doing that, jumping in and out of planning.
Yeah.
So I have to be in like the mindset of like get myself in the correct mindset. And like Paul, and you're right. Half a day is what, 3 hours, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, oh boy. So again, for listeners, so Paul has said, throw the words well-being and mental health around the staff room quite loudly, and you may find a few extra half days coming your way. And you know what? I've started just being a little bit more honest. I think because I've lost all patience and like kindness and decency. I'm too old and I'm too bitter. And I've started being much more honest. Like there was a day a couple weeks ago where I'd been sick for like 3 weeks at this point, and I was physically at breaking point. And then I had this basically like anxiety meltdown one night because I looked at all the lessons I still had to plan for the next day. And it was like right before the US election. And I was just like wanting to throw myself off a cliff anyway. And I was like, all these things just kind of came together. And I just had this moment, like my brain just snapped and I just went, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I just like threw my planner across the desk and like stormed upstairs and went to bed about 8 p.m. And then like in the past, when things like that have like the anxiety's peaked, or like I've been physically run down, or I've been like too anxious to do something or whatever, I've kind of lied about it. Like if I'd been in the exact same situation 10 years ago, I would have hidden the anxiety and the just mental side of it. And I would have just said, I'm just sick. I need a day to rest. I can't come in because I'm physically ill. Like I've been sick for 3 weeks. But I didn't this time. For like the first time ever, I was like, the form you have to fill in is like, why, whatever. And I was really honest about it. I called in the morning and was like, well, I've been sick for 3 weeks and I'm exhausted. Like I'm physically, I feel like I'm at death's door, but also, it's like, it's mental health. Like I feel like I went to bed at 8 p.m. last night because I feel like I cannot cope. I felt like I could not cope with the world and I could not cope with today. Yeah. So like record that how you want, but I want it recorded. Yeah. I want that actually on paper, that this job is too much sometimes and the workload required in teaching is too much sometimes. Like I want that on file, and I don't care if it comes back to bite me, because more people need to speak up and it needs to actually be documented.
Like
so
it's like we're so front facing, like we're on show all the time.
Yep.
Like when I think about people in business, they're not always facing their clients. Let's say they have clients. They're not always facing clients, are they? We're always in front of kids. Even like break time, lunchtime. Like I'm on break duty on a Monday. So like I don't get a time away from the kids until lunchtime. That takes a lot out of you. Like mentally.
You're on constantly. You're on constantly.
And you get to half term and you just want to like collapse, but a little part of your brain is like going blip blip blip, you still have work to do, blip blip blip, you must get ready for next half term, like blip blip, My mum once said, like, have you finished all your work? No, when have you finished? July.
Have you oh, bless your mother.
And even then, July, you were thinking about I can't even think about like July next year. Let's just get to Christmas. Let's get to Christmas, everybody.
Let's we can all try.
December.
Parentkind are a national charity representing parent views and voice and championing parental participation in education and school life. By fostering strong school-parent partnerships, we can boost student attendance, improve behaviour, and enhance academic performance. When parents actively participate, students thrive. Join the movement that's reshaping education for the better. Visit parentkind.org to learn more about reaping the rewards of working in partnership with parents.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Do you ever wish you could sit down with other teachers and delve into the challenges and opportunities we face? Well, that's exactly what Table Talks at Bet UK is all about. Join small roundtable discussions based on your selected topics to share insights, learn from peers, and tackle the big issues in education, all in a sponsor-free environment. This is your chance to connect and collaborate like never before. Be part of the conversation at Bet UK in January 2025. Visit uk.betshow.com to learn more.
Okay, so Paul
has changed the mood of the room. Paul has asked a question at the end of insert.
Oh, Paul. Oh, Paul. Okay, so I want to read these out because my mother listens to these shows, and sometimes she messages me absolutely horrified about what she hears.
And also, if you're not a teacher and you're listening, this is teaching. Go ahead.
All right. So, Paul says, I used to do exactly the same until I developed a chest abscess and nearly collapsed in front of my class. And he goes on, I've had a colleague die from a heart attack. He was replaced literally the next day. Nothing changed. It's not worth it. And then he says, not trying to bring the mood down though. So thanks, Paul. And that is genuinely really sad about your colleague. And it's unfortunately not, he's not the only person, I'm sure, whose work stress has contributed to his health problems.
Do you know what the issue is with that? Is that, like, you know, you hear that a lot. Oh, you could die tomorrow and they'll just replace you. But also, I just thought of this, is that, like, if you don't do all the work, they'll also replace you. So
yeah,
it's like a lose-lose in that respect.
Which is why there's a recruitment crisis.
Yeah.
And a retention crisis, rather, that part, probably.
You know, like Paul said it, a few comments back, it's about your head and your SLT, and he's 100% correct.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen it. I mean, I know the half day isn't solving the problem for any of us in the department, but it's an incredibly, it's a better gesture than I've ever received anywhere else. I mean, I worked at one school that paid us extra money that year I think it was the first or second, I don't know, COVID's a blur, but that year that everybody had to do extra assessments, like formal assessments in place of, or like because they didn't know if the GCSEs were going to run. So it must have been the second year. Anyway, we had to do extra assessments and extra formal marking and extra moderation. And it took bucket loads of time and everyone was fuming about it. And it was so much work. And they basically paid us like examiners' wages for those papers, like based on how many papers we marked. Yeah. Which was again, didn't make up for our lost, hours of our lives, but it was a nice gesture. But to have the time back, not that's all the time back, but like to be given some time, like just to have a head teacher and SLT that acknowledge like this is ridiculous and literally impossible. Mm-hmm. So here's something like that. It's not a solution, but it's a hell of a lot better than nothing.
Yeah, it's a gesture. And like you need that from your SLT once. I mean, my first head teacher used to do this. I hated it. Oh, go home, Leanne. I need to go home. Like in the middle of marking. If I go home, who's going to do it? I think that's the most useless thing that a head can say to you. Oh, go home.
Absolutely.
What do you mean go home? I'm not finished marking. I'm not prepped for tomorrow. Like, thank you for your concern, but it's not helpful.
Yeah, like, do you want me to do the job you hired me to do or not?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe instead of telling me to go home, just be like, oh, I'll help you mark the last few books.
How about that?
Yeah. Like, I think when they're out the classroom for too long, they forget. That's the problem with teaching as well. Leadership that don't teach.
Yeah, or teach, 1 hour a fortnight, not gonna.
Yeah. Well,
because then they feel that they probably feel that they're still in the trenches, but they're absolutely not. Like I look at I always have looked at some members of SLT in various schools, looked at their timetables and just been like, I now see why you are the way you are to everyone else. Like all I have to do is look at your timetable and it makes perfect sense.
Oh, really?
And that's not to say like, I know they're in like probably 80% of those free periods are either duties or meetings with other staff. Like I'm well aware of that, but there's something about the relentless back-to-back 6 period in a row teaching plus form in the morning, plus form in the afternoon, plus a break duty, plus a club after school. Like unless you're living that life, shut up.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. because everything you said about it being so on and so front facing and so
Yeah.
intense and so stressful, and then the half term and the holiday hits you in a whole different way.
Yeah.
And you need it. I mean, didn't you do a Paul, SLT can have the extra $3,000. I'd rather have lower blood pressure.
Lower
Yeah,
blood
well,
pressure and time to go to the toilet.
yeah, that's it. I've actually got like genetically freakishly low blood pressure.
Yeah.
Doctors have said some weird stuff to me. I'm good with the blood pressure. I just need sleep.
My blood pressure
Like-
is fine. My bladder is not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
that as
like,
well.
in the holidays, like half term or holidays, like I like tea, so I drink more tea, and I just go to the loo whenever I want.
Well, I go to the loo whenever I want anyway. I just make the kids wait outside. Like I'm not supposed to, but I will go in between lessons because it's a physical, like, what do you want me to? I'm not going to wet myself in front of the class. Although sometimes I feel like I should, just to make a point.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm like, should I go to the loo or should I do the marking? I'm going to do the marking so that one time I can have a prize. Well, I'm not joking. Last week I had purple pen on my face.
Oh, delightful.
Break time came, and I didn't have time to go look in the mirror and wipe it off. I just didn't have time. It's ridiculous. I was walking around with pen on my face.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna make me sound like a jerk.
Yeah.
But isn't that like kind of normal in primary schools?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
I try not to wear white because you end up with whiteboard.
I try not to wear white, but that's more of a me concern. But okay, didn't you do a survey or one of those little Twitter quizzes or whatever they're called
I did.
about what people would rather do or think they should do
I did.
in their half terms?
People responded. Whoever you are, if you're listening, why, thank you. You made us feel heard on the Late Late Show. 81.3%
Very specific.
to not work, and 18.8% to work. Those poor 18%. Very sad.
But this is like, are people answering this from an ideological perspective or from a practical
I don't know. I was going to say,
approach?
it should have been, do you need to work? Maybe the question should be, do you need to work? Do you not need to work? That probably tells you a lot about SLT.
Yeah.
For like some schools, if they have extra space, they'll give you a bit of extra PPA. Especially in that last week, or I don't know, during assembly. Sometimes in assemblies, people are like, you can go out, it's fine. But then, like I said before, that's what, 10 minutes? I can't do anything in 10 minutes.
No, you can't.
Get the tables ready for home time, that's it.
You need a chunk. I have to have a chunk of time, otherwise I can't get stuck into anything.
Yeah, especially for you with your marking. I mean, my marking,
Yeah.
like we get a few books done in maybe 10 minutes, but not, I mean, for you, you're just kind of getting into it and then you're done, then you have to stop. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I say this, right? So I need to be really clear. Like my school, as far as marking policies go, like we're one of the good ones. We don't have to mark classwork. We don't have to. We're expected to do book looks and book checks. We're supposed to kind of flick through and then feed back to the whole class. And I'm trying to break like 13 years of marking classwork habits. But there are some times when kids do, like, I get them to do an extended bit of writing in class, and I do mark it, but I don't make a habit of it. So it could be so much worse. And marking classwork, if your school makes you do it, like you can kind of do that in like 10 or 15 minute increments. But as soon as you get to GCSE or higher, and as soon as you have to put like the thought and time and effort and care into marking mock exams or, GCSE writing or A-level writing, then you need a massive chunk of time.
Yeah. And like, you need a lot of brain space as well for that kind of marking.
Yeah.
Like for me, and my writing is not to the extent that yours is, but my brain has to be in the right space to be
That's true.
Look through
That's
it
true.
and find things that the kids can edit and like, yeah.
So I feel like maybe if I can find a way to go back to my old habit of like always going away somewhere, even if it's not abroad, but going away somewhere in the holiday and then putting really firm boundaries in the rest of it and just like accepting. I think I'm still like in anger and denial. I have not moved on to acceptance that this is just my life now, because the idealist in me just keeps screaming that this is not how it should be and I don't want to give in. But maybe I just need to accept it and then put really clear boundaries in place for the remaining time.
Yeah, I think boundaries, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes I think, like, do you just like ramp up your work ethic, your work effort in the week before half term? Just like go crazy, like do everything.
I try. Try.
It's like you can't. I just don't. You just can't.
But you're so exhausted. Everyone's on their knees at that point, crawling to the finish line.
Especially like autumn and summer. They're such long terms. It's mad. The best term is spring because it's short.
Yeah.
But yeah. Autumn.
It's short, and it's so, the first half of it at least is so cold and miserable that you don't want to go out or do anything.
Yes. True.
So.
Yeah, I'm just like happy to come home.
Yeah.
Come home.
Every term. Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways that the whole system could adapt to make this easier for teachers and therefore better for students. Yeah. But most of those adaptations require kind of wider systemic changes or drastic whole school shifts. And I just...
It's like your leadership team, isn't it? Leadership.
Yeah.
Ethos of the school. Marking policy, where the school wants the kids to get to, all of that kind of stuff contributes to these issues. I think sometimes like people don't realize the knock-on effect. Like, where does the first knock-on come from? Maybe that's part of the issue.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's after 10 and Paul's just said something lovely. So why don't we end with Paul, because Paul's really been the star of the show.
Yes, he has.
Yeah. So Paul says, "You both sound like you care so much." Thanks, Paul. "That means that you can't go wrong. Don't be so hard on yourselves."
Yeah.
Oh.
For everyone listening, if you download it.
Yeah.
We'll leave you with that.
So thank you for listening. What a lovely man indeed. He's all right, Tom. Yeah. Paul's great, and we are tired, but we are trying because we care. So
I think Tom just wants to have the last word, Ray.
Nope, Paul did. Moving on.
Yep.
Right. So
we shall have that last word.
All right. So thank you for listening and joining us or listening afterwards if you downloaded this. Maybe do less work.
Yeah.
Maybe go to bed. Maybe sleep. Maybe try not to get sick.
Go to bed. Don't get sick. Don't work too hard. But get the important things done before half term. Maybe that's it. Prioritize your workload. Yeah.
And Tom and Paul are having a little texting argument, so we're going to end this without giving any of them any more airtime.
Yeah, we know it's Tom Rogers' world. We're just podcasting in it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you and have a lovely, lovely night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.